welcome to another episode of Garden to Table with Rose, and I am Rose. So I thought I'd do a quick video to show you my seed starting setup. I am full on in seed starting mode here. It's the middle of March. I'm in zone 6A, and so I think I have about, 7 weeks before left, somewhere in there, between 6 and 8 weeks left until our last frost date, which I use May 1st. It's usually between May 1st and 15th. I just usually go with May 1st. So I've started a number of things, and I have two different places that I start seeds. Now this is my basement. My basement is partially finished. This is the unfinished side, where I store everything. And of course, it being the basement and unfinished, it's all concrete walls, concrete floor, and so it's pretty cool down here. So what I got is this multi-shelf unit. Let me see if I can get back so you can see the whole thing. It's a multi-shelf unit. It has 4 shelves, and then it's used for just basic storage, and it's metal. And then I got a cover to go over it so that I could create a little bit of a humidity dome, like a greenhouse effect. And then I put in several little LED lights that were very cheap on Amazon. I think I got them all, but I have several at each row. And actually, I've been thinking of redoing this and putting these lights on chains. Some of them are, some of the ones at the bottom, but the top I just kind of zip tied them to the shelf. And I do want to be able to lower and raise these. It would just be more convenient because, as you can see, what I've done is taken boxes of my canning jars and put it under here to get the small seedlings close to the light. And then you move them down as they grow, but initially you want them 2 to 3 inches from the grow lights. So these, as you can see, have all sprouted up. I got others. I also use these plastic covers to create even more humidity until things sprout. This is a new tray that I just planted up, I think about a week ago, and it is all flowers. It looks like pretty much all flowers and herbs in this one. So that's going, and then I put them on heat mats. As you can see, I have multiples of these little heat mats until they germinate, and then once they sprout, I take them off the heat. I take the lid off because you can get, obviously, dampening off if you leave it on, and they'll die from being too moist. And then I elevate them closer to the light. So far this season, this is where I've started everything because they don't necessarily need the intense light until they sprout. And some of them actually don't want any light to sprout. There are some things, I think it was stock, that I put in a tray and put the lid on and then just set it on the concrete floor because they do not want light and they want cool temperatures to germinate. And then once they popped, I put those under lights. So that's the first spot. And then we'll go over here in this corner. This is my second spot. This is a grow tent, and it's pretty large. Actually, it's larger than I thought it would be when I ordered it, but I'm making use of it. It's actually a 4x8, I believe. So it's tucked back here in a little corner in the basement. And I have some things hooked up. I'm not using it now, but there is a filtration system so that it cleans the air in here and gets rid of any weird smells or anything like that. That's what this whole thing is that I have strung up here. And then it has one of these. I think this one is supposed to make it so the fan is quiet. So it's a fan that exchanges the air. And then there's a big tube, I don't know the official name for these things, that comes out here and just, takes the old air out. So right now I don't have that on though because I'm leaving this door open right now. I don't need to create even more heat. At least I don't think I do at this point. If it were the midst of winter and I was trying to grow something to full size, I would keep this closed. I have a little heater there that I would keep on I also have a dehumidifier over there, but I'm not using that because I have the flap open and I'm just letting the natural air course through. I do have fans in the corners, two of those, and in the other one I showed you the rack. There's one fan in that one, and then I have these LED grow lights, which are really nice ones. I mean, they really give off a lot of light. They're a lot better than the cheap ones I have on the other shelf. But basically, I have them pretty close to my seedlings now, as you can see, because they're short and they need the light to be pretty close. And then I raise it as they get bigger. And these are nice because they're on like a little pulley system. So, you know, you just pull this string literally and the light raises. And then there's a little button here you can push and to lower it. So, mostly this is flowers. I'm going to do a cut flower garden this year. Most of my land space outside I am devoting to flowers. My goal is to produce enough flowers to make bouquets and flower bouquets and hopefully sell a few on my little flower cart that I'm going to set up this summer. So, like I said, I start almost everything from seed. And I start almost everything indoors. I am just a stickler. Maybe it's some OCD, but I don't like direct seeding things unless I have to. There are certain things that you know doesn't want to be transplanted, like carrots or something. But I don't like it because it becomes a mess to me. The seeds wash all over the place when you're trying to water it. They're everywhere, and then you end up having to, you know, either thin them out or dig them up and move them. And so to me, that is not a good thing. I have a limited amount of space, so I like to know how many plants I have. I like to place them in rows or wherever I'm putting them, just so. So I tend to grow almost everything that I can inside as starts and then move it outside. So you can see here, I have a number of my vegetables that I've already even planted. This is stock and some other cabbage, rutabagas. There are beets in here, tons of onions because I started those from seed this year. I wasn't buying any. And onions is the one crop that you really need to buy fresh seeds every year if you're going to grow onions from seed because they just don't seem to germinate well when you're using older seeds. So as you can see, in this tray, I only have a few cells of the onions that have come up, and I've reseeded because it's been 2-3 weeks to see if I can get some more to come up. And I have more seeds too. If I have to do a third reseeding, I will. But I got some celery in here and celeriac, shallots down there, and most of these other things are flowers: yarrow, eucalyptus, foxglove. I can't even pronounce this one. ERYNGIUM. It's something good for a cut flower, because I did my research on what I should be growing for cut flower gardening. Digitalis, delphiniums. What else do I have in here? Lots of snapdragons. This whole thing is snaps. And now, for these, the number of seeds I sowed per cell dependent on the germination rate of that seed. And I got most of my seeds from Johnny's. So they're wonderful in terms of the amount of instruction and information they give you on their seed packs. The seed pack has the germination percentage, so I based it up on that. Obviously, if it's in the high 90s, I only sowed 1 or 2 seeds per cell. But if it was something that had like a 78% germination rate, then I doubled up on it. And I will come through and thin these, and when it's time to plant them, pop them up into bigger pots, because a lot of these have multiples. These are the snapdragons, and I also have to come through and pinch them when they get a certain height. But a lot of things just have 1 or 2 flowers in it. Look at this coleus. Oh my god, it's so pretty. I love coleus. And this is one that's green, as you can see, with some red striping and coloring on it, so that'll go in my landscape. The yarrow I'm using as a cut flower. This verbascum, I think, I'm using as a cut flower. I've never grown it before. Most of these things I've ever grown, because this is my first year really trying to do a cut flower garden. I've grown a few flowers in the past. I didn't know what I was doing. They didn't come out so great. But I've done my research, so hopefully this works out. I got pansies here. These are more for containers and maybe my window boxes. As I said, those are all snapdragons. These are onions and celeries and leeks. And the yarrow, eucalyptus, I went over all that. Delphiniums. This is mostly food, I believe, in this one. There are some flowers here, but I do have my beets and spinach and radishes and Swiss chard. Usually they want you to direct seed radishes, but I even sow those in sales, and I will transplant those. I got my peas in here, and I'm doing eating peas, but I'm also doing flour peas that you use for flowers, and see how that goes. So these are the two places where I seed start and get things going. And like I said, some of these I will end up having to pot up into bigger pots. I got two kinds of trays that I'm using right now. I have these 6-packs that are left over from last year. So these are like 2-inch wide, it looks like, maybe 3 inches deep. And then I bought these, which I love. I want to get more. They're a little pricey, but this is like same size, but it's one whole piece. And I got from Bootstrap Farmer, I think it's called. And then there's also another piece that I bought that has these little spikes on it. So what happens is you sit this on top of it. There's a little hole in the bottom of each one, and it pushes the seedling up. Of course, you could also use a butter knife or something like that to get your seedlings out. It's up to you. But that is what I have going on. Like I said, I'm about between 6 and 8 weeks, or between 7 and 8 weeks out from my last frost date. So I will be starting more seeds. I have a batch that I need to start, 6 weeks out, and then I have a batch that you start 4 weeks out, and then I may have another little batch that gets started 2 weeks out from the last frost date. So I'm going to be shuffling things in here as I see fit. I just have some folding tables that I just had around for other purposes that I just set up in here for this. And then once the seedlings are out of here, I won't use this for a while. It'll be just here for the next go round. So that is how I start my seedlings and grow my seedlings. What else should I add? I've been using this Miracle Grow seed starting potting mix, and I really like this. Before I was just using regular potting soil, which you can. You can use whatever you want. You can, I a lot of times will make up my own potting soil mix from peat moss and compost, and throw in some other things, and perlite or vermiculite. But I decided to try something that was specifically made for seed starting so I can have more success, because like I said, I'm new to the flowers, and last year I tried, it was a disaster. I couldn't get certain things to grow. It was just a hot mess. So I'm hoping by using that gives me a little added help with germination, because it's supposed to be a lighter, fluffier mix that, is best for starting seeds. So, and it's inexpensive. So the other thing I do is once they get a couple of inches tall, the seedlings, I am giving them a dilute amount of plant food. I just use Miracle Grow, the liquid kind, once per week. I mix that in with the water. Of course, I bottom water once things sprout. I just put water in the tray, literally about an inch worth, and let it soak in. And then you can pour off the excess. I don't usually have any excess. Until the seeds germinate, I will use a spray bottle, because there's no point in me bottom watering when I have nothing that has germinated yet. So I just use a spray bottle just to keep the seeds damp. And then I start the bottom watering once they actually pop. And so yeah. So I have no more room in here to the grow lights. Unless I can get creative with these with tables, but I don't think I'll put anything else in here. I still have this rack, which has 4 trays on it now. So on this, I have them this long way now just because I don't have much in here, but I can actually turn them the other way around, and then I can fit 4 trays on each shelf. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 times 4. That's 16 more trays I have room for in here. And that should be more than enough seedlings for me for the time being. So yeah, that's what I got going on. Things are getting underway. I'm very excited. I love the gardening season. I love when that last frost date rolls around, so I can then be outside every day doing my gardening chores, which is where I like to be. All right, that's all I got for today. I don't know when I'll do the next video. Probably once the snow melts. It's snowing today. I will do a quick tour of my garden as it sits now, and just kind of show you what I'm starting with and where I plan to plant all of these things in the coming months. All right, so that's all I got for today. Take care. Bye bye.